That's who we are. The best on the planet. Unbelievable.
I love that. It's what I love.
First of all, before we go on tomorrow, we'll just want to say about Greg Taylor, mate. That's why the boys call him Oxo, because he's absolutely different gravy.
You look as if you've just come straight away for the Green Brigade.
Aye, we'd have meeting at 6:30, mate. You hear me all right? Yeah?
Aye, all right.
Back with a Celtic Unrestricted View. How are we? How are you on this fine Monday evening? It's myself, JP. Joining me tonight is our Andy Gray, a.k.a. Ryan, and our good friend Ada. How are we, boys?
All good, mate. How are you?
Aye, all good. All good. Wee bit cold. I've still got the heating up full black. I've no hoodie tonight, but obviously, as we know, it's still these wee freezing temperatures right across Glasgow at the moment. So it's -9 as we speak, and hopefully that gets bigger as we go in the coming weeks. But as I said, I'm all good, boys. Aidan, I'll come to you first, mate, because I've not actually spoke to you for a wee while, mate. Quite a topsy-turvy weekend for us, or as the media would let us below. As I say, on the banner of the night, we've got Big O to the rescue. The media has put it up today. They've portrayed it that we got out of jail and the big man came on and got us to the rescue. This totally discounting it. Actually, Haksabanovic scored a peachy goal as well. But how about you, mate? Hope you had a nice weekend. And what was your take on Saturday's game, mate?
Aye, mate. Aye, weekend was all right, mate. The game, I don't know, man. It's like the rescues. You watch apart from the Hibs penalty, you watch that game and we dominated from start to finish. I think if you look at the past few weeks and you look at Jota, has he been great? I thought Jota at the weekend was brilliant, unplayable at times at the weekend. The chances we created in the first 15-20 minutes alone, I thought we were going to give him a hiding. To be fair, I don't think Ogo is out of jail by any sense. I think the goal was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Whether the third goal was coming or not was different, but there was definitely a goal coming. We were tiring them. There was non-stop in that second half trying to get what we need to get, and it was only ever going to go one way, wasn't it, if we're being honest?
Yep. Absolutely. I totally agree with you, mate. Ryan, just as Ada says there, I really, like we says, mate, I mean, many times have we spoke at length on here about the media and their sheer nonsense that they just continue to spout. They more or less try to make out that Celtic were, backs against the wall and we get out of jail basically with Big O coming on and scoring what they made out to be the winning goal, even though we won 3-1. He only scored the second goal. But no, I'm with Ada there. I feel that, we were battering them and it's no what the media paint it to be, mate.
No, it's no, mate. To the rescue sounds like
it's a last gap winner. Celtic have struggled, and again, if you look at the stats, we've got 35 shots in goal, 15 corners.
They're actually up here now.
There's a stat said,
Oh, you've got 79% possession to 21%.
And he was like 15
right
corners, one less fewer fouls in the Hibs, but yet we're met to be backs against the wall and struggling. And then Rangers are met to be rampant and they've conceded 2 goals, and it was a goal. One goal was blatantly offside, which we'll probably go into about the VAR. But yet we're the man that struggled, and yet we're the man that's 9 points clear. The goal, like Ada says, mate, it was always coming, even though with 20 minutes, 25 to go, you maybe still with your 1 each, 1-0 down, you're still thinking you'll win the game, because like Ada says, the goal was coming, and Hibs had one shot, and that was for a penalty. That's all I can really remember them. They did trouble Celtic. They try to do what teams need to do, like I said to you all night. They've got to stop the play. So it's dirty side experience, shall I say, experience fouls and wasting time and try to stop the play, stop, start. It's only why teams will stop us, because we're too good. And I don't feel we were great, but we didn't need to be great.
Mm-hmm. No, a couple of wee comments before we go on. Plunge has joined us tonight. He says, "Evening, guys. Evening, mate. Cheers for joining us." A comment here for Smell the Glove. He says, "Welcome, boys." We should be saying that to you, mate, because it's you that's actually joined us.
Smell the Glove.
So, welcome to the show. Smell the Glove. But Plunge actually goes on there and says, "We weren't at our best. Hibs played well first half and just sheerly kicked us off the party." I think that's probably a fair assessment of the first. I wouldn't say they outplayed us or anything in the first half, but my God, we're flying into challenges. Johnson's getting spouted in terms of this, the tackle for Guyan on Starf. That happened right in front of me, mate. And I heard the noise. Starfelt's feet making contact with Ewan's leg, or Ewan's leg coming down and tapping Starfelt's feet. And it wasn't a kind of, it wasn't. You can't say it was an accidental thing, because he lunges his foot towards him to stop him from kicking the ball. And when Starfelt plays the ball away, there's what's inevitable outcome that's going to happen, which means you're going to kick him. So, in my opinion, mate, I think the ref got it spot on in terms of yellow card. He's actually lucky VAR never flagged it as a red. In all honesty, mate, I don't know if take his own hat.
No, I'd agree. He's kind of got away with that one in the first place. I don't think. I don't think any of these fouls you could argue with. I think they were both warranted for bookings. But they were flat. The challenges were thrown in, and I'm not going to sit here and slay Hibs for it, because it's playing, as Ryan already says, it's playing against Celtic like that you get more chance of getting a result. If you can slow us down, if you can keep knocking us down when we're trying to get going, then you've got a better chance of getting up and getting on with your game and trying to get something. And they were dirty. Their manager, their gaffer was constant, never left the fourth official alone. That full first off.
Yeah.
Second off, he was still at it. Any decision that went, he was right up. And just trying to cause a bit of antagonism amongst probably the Celtic players and the referee, and try to get decisions his way. And listen, I'm almost like any manager or any team for doing that, because if it wins the games, it wins the games. There's nothing illegal about what they're doing. It's you make your bookings for it, but if you're going to get a result, nobody can slate you for it. Nobody would be even mentioning that apart from us. Okay. Sorry. Nobody would be mentioning apart from us if they got a result about how their tackles were. And nobody will mention that apart from us now anyway, apart from Celtic fans, about how bad it was. They were flying in some wild ones, and the time wasting, David Marshall especially, but that's just experience that'll win you games. Slow Celtic down and you'll maybe get somewhere. Obviously never worked out in the end, but it's the only way you're going to get at us in this league.
Aye, I would agree with that, Ada. I found the tactic from them quite baffling, to be honest. any other time, you know, this season when Hibs have played, and I quite like me and Ryan have spoke about this before either in terms of their manager. He always speaks very well about the game normally, and you know the way he sets about he's trying to do things above his station. He's not really got the manpower to try and play football the way he wants to play, and he's naive in a way that sometimes I think in terms of his approach to certain games. No, I'm not even against us. I'm talking about in other fixtures, even when they play like Aberdeen or Dundee United, or because I've seen a couple of their games this season. But that tactic on Saturday just seems to be totally mind-boggling to me, Ryan. In terms of, I mean, Lee Johnson, not just their players. There was a couple of players. I think one of the comments that's come in, Francis has put it up about Doyle Hayes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he'd about 2 or 3 goes. He'd about 2 or 3 goes at Alistair Johnson. Now, I kept thinking to myself, if Johnson doesn't play the ball quickly, he's going to cop a sorry in here in terms of on his ankle. Because he's not just looking to block his shot, he's looking to actually make contact with him to kind of let him feel a wee bit of force. But in terms of the boy Ewan as well, Ryan, he was running about like headless chicken. See, the one he hits Starfield and gets booked. Just before he gets sent off, I don't know if you've seen it, lads. There was one there at the same side, where obviously out towards me and where the North Stand is. He flew into Starfield again and just narrowly missed his left foot. And Starfield played a cushion pass into the midfield to O'Reilly. I think it was half a throw-in for Greg Taylor. And he flew into that as well. So I turned to a couple of the guys beside me and I says, he's a loony, he's going to get sent off here. He's heading for another booking because of how silly he was with the first booking. But Ryan, not just that, mate. It was a drop like flies, a time wasting for the goalie Marshall. Lee Johnson then waits till we get a free kick, ready to take it, and he throws the ball into the park and gets himself booked stupidly. That's just cheap, mate. But I know you're laughing, mate, but you're talking about professional.
I know.
What are you doing? What? Is this where we've came to now? Is this where we are now in terms of they know how good we are, so they're trying all sorts of stuff to try and stop us? Surely there's got to be a better way. Because the low block's not working, guys. I think that's what we can take for that. The low block isn't working because, as we've said on here, our firepower is just far too strong. And we've got a lot of answers as well when they hit that low block. So
it's frustrating for us as fans, but yourself and guys who play the game, see when you're getting beaten, it's all right when you're winning, you're wasting time, you're laughing, you're joking, Harry, getting frustrated or kicking a ball away, but see when you're 1-0 down, and that's what you kind of need to do against Celtic. It's really what you need. It's probably things that we've never done in a long time in the past, and I would call it the dark arts, i.e. especially European football, when like, Joe Hart's wanted to rush the ball, and there's times when you can waste time, there's times when you dilly-dally, and Hibs done it to a T until we get the goal, the first goal, and then the plan backfired. I think obviously when you're into run, you're frustrated, some fans are saying referee, but see, if you played the game, you understand that you've got to do that to beat teams. These teams can't do it on the part, they need us to slip, and that's obviously a detriment to us when they do that. So in terms of the Starfield, see like 10 years ago, nobody would be talking about that, even the red card. It's just the way VAR's going, the way football's going, it's affecting the way what I would say being long with cool heads when it comes to football. I'm not saying we're experts, but you played the game, you've seen football for years, you know what's a football and what's not a football, and what's late and what's no. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you would have gone, oh, right, just play on. That's it. He's late, but play on. But see now, everybody's getting up, oh, referee, and I think sometimes because you're at the game, you get yourself all pumped up and you think, oh, he's so late, etc. It's like, for me, it's a yellow card. I didn't think it was anything more sinister than that. And people are saying that he gets sent off. No, he got a second booking. He got 2 second bookings because he was fouling, and it just came to a combination of just too many fouls, and he gets sent off, and the referee had enough. People are saying,
I thought it was hilarious when Lee Johnson says Carter Vickers was over 6 feet tall, and then when he goes to header that boy, he's only 5 feet 2 or something like that. I was howling when I heard him. See
the way football is now, and if you're going for the ball and the guy's put your seat there, it's automatic just about a yellow card or a free kick. No, it's just the way football is. I think people forget that football's changing. For me, it's so frustrating, and obviously I miss playing football and I love playing football, but in a way, I'm glad I'm not playing now, because I don't know if I'd be able to cope with all these new laws and the way the referees are, because I'm a wee quiet guy off the park, but when I was on the park, I was a horrible bastard. I done everything to win. I'm not going to lie. I used to dive. I say dive. I used to call on the referee. I used to.
I don't know if he's any different off it, but mate, is he?
Hey, I'm a faithful. I don't cheat. Hey, that's fucking hell, man. That's my thunder getting blocked. No, but in terms of, I done everything to win football games. If it was pulling guys' jerseys, saying I'm going to pump your missus, anything at all, just a laugh and a joke to get people turned away and turned off. It's just one of the things you done a football part to win. Like Ada says, Hibs done anything they try to do to win the football game, as in wasting time or kicking the ball at the park, like Lee Josh had done. It's unprofessional, but he's using a bit of experience. Like, he'll throw the ball in the park, it'll waste 5 seconds. For me, these teams can only do that because unless we totally underperform, it's going to take a massive task for anybody to beat us in this league, even Rangers. So for me, in terms of Hibs, I just think the full game, it was a bit frustrating, but it's only frustrating because you were getting beat. But like I say to you on the phone the other day, mate, the first half was a wee bit, no angry, but I was a bit pissed off the first half, because I just thought it was dilly-dally, and it was, the only thing that frustrates, I don't know what you think, Ada, right, but the thing that frustrates me with this Celtic team is, I'll praise them at the halt when they do well, like we should all do, and you don't forget what they've done because of one bad performance, or one defeat, or one draw, whatever, but the way, it's like they're brainwashed not to shoot outside of the box. Mm-hmm. It's like the odd time you'll maybe get Hatate outside the box, maybe one effort, or Hasebanovic maybe the odd time, but there's times when McGregor, who, I don't know if it's because Scott Brown was hopeless at shooting, McGregor he's the same, because McGregor just doesn't really shoot. And you get the ball outside the box, I'm like, shoot, you've got about 20 yards of space to run into with the ball and shoot, and they want to pass side. But I don't know if that's either because they've been no brainwashed, but that's the way they've been told to play football, that shooting for, it's like Barcelona. Very rarely do you see Barcelona shooting outside of the box. It's
just before Ada comes in, you go back there, you said Scott Brown was hopeless at shooting. He scored a few speckies for his man.
But let's be fair, man, he was hopeless. He was.
You think so?
Oh, his shots was it and the starting, man.
He did have some right out, man.
No, he did not, but who?
Some of them went in, but even I broken watches right twice a day into it, so.
that's just like my cloak.
You just got about his cloak. Aye. Ryan's cloak's only right twice a day. Aye. Quality, man. He just puts that up for the podcast. He takes it back, doesn't he? Like he got that.
No, it's a body on that. It's just a cloak.
It's a fashion sense, isn't it?
That is a proper deal on my cloak.
But, no, you want to obviously allude to what Ryan was saying there, Aidan, in terms of what he was chatting about there. He was talking about. Right, Ryan, you want to tell me what you were talking about?
Aye, repeat yourself, mate, just briefly.
No, basically, obviously, the way Hibs were playing in terms of the wasting time, and we get frustrated by it as fans, but I think we need to realise that that's what you do in football when you're behind. Like, when we played football, it pisses you off when teams do it 5 minutes to go.
Oh, no, that's what you were talking about, the shooting inside the box. I agree with this. We do kind of try and play the ball into the net, but I think that's been the way since Ange got here. We've had don't get me wrong, we've had a few good absolute pillars, Turnbulls, and the one from McGregor early in the season for the edge of the box against Aberdeen. Haksabanovic does it, but we don't see it enough. Right? When you look back at players who used to do it consistently well, it's probably something you miss, because it's good to see, and it's frustrating because you can see the opportunity right there in front of you, but the players are obviously just playing to what they're told. Get the ball in the box, and you get the ball in the net. It's FIFA style football. That's the way I look at it. Just get right in the box and pass it across and put the ball in the net, and I'd take it all day. I'd take it because we're doing well, but when you're chasing a game, when you're seeing an opportunity, you say your McGregors and all these players, Hatate should be doing it a lot more, because we know he's well and capable of doing it when he does it. We've seen it time and time again.
Yep.
It's one of the things. You want to see it more, but I can understand why we don't do it. But in a game like that, like Saturday, when you're chasing the goals, take opportunities, shoot on sight, just do what you need to do and put the ball in the net.
No, absolutely, mate. There is a few. I mean, like Turnbull, I think most of all his goals all come from more or less outside the box, didn't he? Just about. It's not very often he scores a tap in. So he's one that does shoot. As Ada says there, Ryan Haksabanovic does do it. But I think, see, the way Celtic play with the rotations, I think that's the way they're coached in order to fizz the ball across the box, make sure there's a striker or there's a kind of number 7 or number 8 or number 10. There's always bodies in the box, and it's more than one striker at a time being in that position. I think that's the way the way this team plays, and I think that's their makeup isn't to shoot a lot from outside the box. They work the ball wide and then work it in. So I really don't think that's what it is. I get what you're saying, but because sometimes it is frustrating. Us as fans are in the stadium and we can see an opportunity for the ball to be struck.
Oh, it's so frustrating, man.
But yeah, they want to play that extra pass, and sometimes they don't. But there is one or two. Like Greg Taylor's he's scored a couple of goals for us. He's one that's he's no fear to have a go. He actually had a go at the weekend there and it kind of deflected and Marshall Garrett it. But no, there's a couple of them no shy in terms of doing it. But no, as I say, it is something I would kind of like to see more personally. But I just think this makeup of the team, it's just not the way Ange wants them to play. If it's on, it's on. But if it's 9 times out of 10 the way we play, you're never going to. You're not playing like that. Do you know what I mean? Unless you're playing in Europe and you're maybe against maybe that hard-fought Eastern European team, etc. Maybe somebody like a Slavia Prague or somebody that ilk, that you've got to just try and shoot at goal, because maybe they've set up with that sort of rigid 3 that sometimes in Europe, you know yourself, Ryan, sometimes you just can't get playing around it. Because these teams are better than your St Mirren's, and no disrespect to Ross County and St Mirren, etc., but these teams are a lot better than that, which is why they're in these competitions, Wiggy. So, a couple of more wee comments. We've got one here for Vincent O'Brien. He said, "Good evening, hail to Celtic." And
Hail, mate.
Leo Porter has joined us tonight he was on TikTok Live with us last night, Ryan, when we tried that one out. So,
all right, Leo.
He said, "What's happening, lads? Cheers for joining us, Leo." And John has joined us saying, "Oi, oi, boys and girls. Fenians in the house." That's not a bad comment, that, by the way. I've not seen anything like that for a long time. But Patrick McLaughlin, we were talking about the challenges, etc. Just at the beginning there when we started. And Patrick says, "Cast your minds back to the Scottish Cup semi-final 4 or 5 years ago. Do you remember Halliday's tackle that day? Surely that's an automatic red." I think that's the one, Patrick, if I'm right. Is that the one that was on Patrick Roberts?
I think it was at Tynecastle.
No, the game was at Hampden. That was a 4-0 game at Hampden. They actually took him off that day and he was raging, remember? Murray subbed him and he was Beelan.
I remember it now.
He was Ian Beelan, remember? He was going tonto about it. And that was the one, the camera followed him all the way up the stairs into the back end of the dugout, and he was shouting and bawling.
What a day,
and
man.
abusing. That was a cracking day. Aye. Even Big Moussa Dembele didn't want to hit the second penalty, let Big and Cham hit the next one, which is really good. But it was a cracking day. I think it was Big Rogic who opened the scoring for us, wasn't it?
Yep. Sure was.
I actually remember that well, because I had Rogic 4-0 on that day. I'd have 10 Rogic 4-0, me, I got a grand back.
Oh, brilliant, man. What a day that must have been for
you.
4-0
with 20 minutes to go, I was like, right, sharp.
I'm sure the boy McCrory, it's at Aberdeen now, got sent off for him that day. I'm sure he ragdolled Big Dembele to the flare, did he know? He gave away one of the penalties and he got sent off that day.
Aye, and then Dembele gave it to the Cham, didn't he, the penalty, didn't he?
I think that was the one. That was the one I was talking about there, aye. Because Dembele had already scored. He'd already scored. We got 2 penalties that day, didn't we? Because he'd already scored one. Where he done the sort of Panenka.
Aye.
Aye.
Imagine having the audacity. Like even Edward against Hart. Imagine having the audacity to do that in a cup final, man.
I know.
A semi-final.
It's not even that. It's who remembers the build-up before it, and it looks like a Loudon Tavern, and they're all praying for us in the draw.
Aye.
Wow, man.
Be careful what you wish
they're all
for.
cheering, and I've got Tina Turner blaring through the whole pub.
I don't think there was Tina Turner putting the right back with the boss that night.
I don't think so. I don't think any coins were getting put in a penny arcade that night either, mate. I think they were all heading home for an early night. There was a few sash bashes cancelled that night, mate, to be honest with you. Vincent's actually said to his lads that he's listening and watching from Dublin.
Brilliant.
Just for tuning in, Vincent.
Brilliant.
Thanks very much. Can't be easy for a Monday night for sitting here listening to us talking about the game. But I've actually got, before we go any further, boys, I've actually got a wee bit of footage for us. Because this is what I'm moving on to next now, in terms of the VAR, etc., and how it's being used in Scottish football. I've actually got a wee clip of Lee Johnson talking about us, and his thoughts are that we should be asking for full-time referees because he thinks Stephen McLean's performance at the weekend was a shambles. Now, bearing in mind, he's the one that flung a ball into the park trying to waste time, but he's now slagging referees for being a shambles. So I take it there's no mirrors in his toilet or anything like that when he walks in, or his house, because I think he needs to have a long, deep look deep within himself before he calls anything else a shambles or anybody else a shambles. But here's his clip here.
I'm a bit of a lobbyist to give them more money, actually, because I think that the league should be employing professional referees. It's a big European league, this, and I feel it's really important. Like, there's a lot of money at stake. European places are at stake. There's could potentially be 5 places available for Europe this year. So you got to have the standard to match, and in my opinion, that means a professional standard. What is professional? Well, it's full time, and it's working day in, day out with each other. It's doing your analysis on the teams, on the individuals. It's working better as a team. It's communicating better on the technical areas or down the microphones to each other. And listen, I've been in both leagues, and there is a stark difference.
Now, Ada, Lee Johnson thinks being a full-time ref to being a part-time ref means they'll be able to talk better down a microphone to each other. I don't know. Ryan, no one here ready to start giggling and laughing there. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I'm actually chuckling on the inside here. I don't know how any of you feel about that, but we are the only league in Europe that don't have full-time referees.
See, I do agree with the fact that we do need full-time refs, but we've been trying it for 4 years, and I don't think it'll happen in my lifetime, and I reckon I've got a good while left yet. I just don't see it happening. But to think it improves things like talking on a microphone. I switched to part-time to full-time when I worked in McDonald's as a young boy. I still put burgers on the thing the same way. Doesn't make a difference. I mean, it's just, you know your job. You're a professional referee. It's not as if they just referee in Scotland. They go out and they referee in Europe. They know their job. They know the things they need to talk about. They know what's a foul, what's not a foul. They know the rules of the game, or at least they should. Being a full-time ref doesn't change that in any way, shape or form. All it does is it gives a full focus to being a referee and know then there are other jobs that they need to do to keep themselves alive. And giving them, let's not be about this here. Referees still get paid quite a lot of money, right? So if they're going to go out there and be a Class 1 referee, part-time or full-time, and getting paid good money, they're going to know their stuff, or they're not going to be a Class 1 referee. It's as simple as that. And if they're making mistakes, then it's only themselves to blame, and no the SFA or the other governing bodies for only employing part-time referees. That's personally the way I see it.
Yeah, and what's your take on, obviously, the way this has been implemented in Scottish football? Now, at the beginning, we heard that, right away, there's got to be teething problems. There's got to be teething problems. There's got to be this, there's got to be that. And I'm thinking to myself, why is there going to be teething problems? Because it's not a new system. It's not a new thing. It's not a new technology. VAR's been around for, again, a number of years. We were just the last lot to have it again. So we expect, the referees, they were given months of training before it was implemented into the league. So, what is it? And then, is it a criteria thing? Is it because, or is it basically down to that some of them just don't have a damn do what they're doing? Because I firmly believe a referee is a guy that never get picked for a school team, and he's just got that grievance out with the world, and he just decided to become a referee. He never get picked for a school team, and he wasn't good enough to play for a school team. Ryan, I know you're laughing, but that's always been my view. That's why he became a ref, to get back at players and managers and other things round about the game, because that seems to be what they're doing. And some of your referees up here seem to try and make the game all about them and know about, what they're actually meant to be doing. So what's your take on the VAR, mate?
Well, I seen a stat back when VAR first got introduced, and it was something like 62% of your officials, or class 1 officials, the ones with the always had games, used VAR before we introduced it into Scotland. So if they were trying to use it on a European and international stage, then there's no reason they can't use it here. So you really only, if you look at that, you've only got 30% of referees to train up. And we had a starting date which was the January, and they brought it forward.
Yeah.
If there's going to be teething problems, don't bring it forward. Keep training your guys. There's ways to train them so there's no teething problems, and then New Year, a year down the line, whatever, I don't know how long it's been since we put VAR on. I don't know.
Well, we're not a year yet. I think it came in just before Christmas, Ryan, didn't it?
It was just before the World. It was just after the World Cup, I think. Aye.
After the World Cup,
it was before. I'm sure it was before it, mate. Was it no?
The FA Cup. I'm forgetting the World Cup was Christmas time, man.
Aye. I'm sure. I know. Everybody's the same. I'm sure it came in before.
We're nearly off a season into it, basically. How many games does it take to get it right? You get 6 games every week. The referees are all there. They know the rules, and they can't keep saying, but the rules are a bit foggy, a bit this and that. The rules are the rules. You either know them or you don't. And that's where you draw the line. If you know the rules, implement them and make them clear to everybody, because we're sitting here and we've not got a clue what the rules are because they don't know what the rules are, and the rules change every game you go and watch. Yeah. It's utterly bonkers, man. I just don't get it.
You're right,
I've just seen a comment. It's all right.
Lose it up there, man. I'm trying to keep it.
I thought maybe it was something he'd say that maybe I didn't hear.
I knew it was going to happen. I'm doing nothing funny.
No, I'm all right now.
So, Ryan, obviously we'll come to you about your view, mate. And don't make yourself a cup of tea, mate, because this is going to be a long one, I think.
No, I agree with you in terms of, I don't know how you can expect even problems maybe for a few games, right? But like Ada says, most of them have used it before, i.e. European games or maybe games abroad. So it shouldn't have been, but like Ada says, how all you're doing, again, I'm not an expert in this, right? So see unless somebody says, right, Ryan, you'll be slagging us on your podcast. Why don't you come and see what we need to do? Right? Show me, because until we see that, we can't exactly know what you're doing behind the monitor or what you're doing at training. But see the fact that you need to be trained to look at a monitor and then tell them what you've seen for your naked eye for them to tell you what you've just seen on the park. The referee's the closest guy to it, and he's getting things wrong. There was a home ball, which I still don't know how. I don't know how they didn't get on Saturday. There was one, and Jota was getting off his nut, and for me, the player reaction tells it all. If the player's going off his seed, it's a penalty or a handball, whatever, then 9 times out of 10, you know it's a penalty or a handball. Some guys do not detest it. They just walk away. That's when maybe know, right, that's not a penalty or a foul, whatever. Jota was going off his nut for a few seconds. They checked it within 2 or 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
How can other ones take a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then it comes to us, and one of your checks was done in 3 to 4 seconds? I just don't get how one thing can be looked at within, right, okay, right, and then it takes a minute to look at something that's probably even more obvious, like some of the handballs against us. I agree with Lee Johnson in terms of the full-time referees. I like Lee Johnson. I've said to you, JP, I like what he's trying to do with HIBS.
Mm-hmm.
He's just not got the financial power to maybe play the football that he wants, because it started to do well with Sunderland, and then obviously I think something must have happened behind the scenes, and it went it went sour for him. So I like him. I like the way he talks. I know he can talk a big words, and he can maybe talk about rubbish, but in terms of what he spoke about, in terms of Celtic players and the way we play and stuff, I think he's been brilliant to us, and he's gave us a lot of praise. And some managers don't do it, but all of a sudden they have been doing it. But I can agree with the full time. But again, I can't even take what it said in the comments here, but I can agree as well that these guys are like lawyers and teachers, and they've got all these other things. So I don't know if you do both full time, but maybe you only train at night time or something. Or you do that at night time, so you're still doing your job, basically part time but full time. So you're maybe only doing 1 game a week, but you're still doing training every night, or you're still doing something that keeps you ticking, i.e., looking at the VR or whatever. But they're getting things wrong. It's 5 yards in front of them. It's no human error. It's just incompetence, in my opinion. Like you're watching it.
Aye.
We're seeing things in the stands, and I'm like at myself, how she gave it? Like, how? See, even the Starfield one, right? I can totally understand why they've gave it, right? But see, like I said to you, 10 years ago, that wee tug's not a foul. But it's because an athlete, in my opinion, right? See these guys are built, right? I'm no a machine, right? But see someone does that, I can get away from somebody if I'm sharp and quick. That shouldn't stop you for no getting a ball. If you're an athlete, a wee tug's not going to stop you. These guys are just fun. Or referees pulp me. But just because he's done that, it's not a foul. It's got to stop you. He wasn't just a wee tug, man. He was holding on to him like he tuskies in front of him. But this is what I'm saying. Nowadays, it's a foul. But see, 10, 15 years ago, we wouldn't be claiming for this. It's just because all this is in, and check the VR. But there's things that don't need checked, and they're getting checked. And you're thinking, Jesus Christ, man. But I do agree with you that
I called it straight away. I seen it in live play. I actually saw that happen. I saw the set piece. I saw what Starfield done, and right away I turned around to the guy beside me, the guy that was sitting beside me, and I says, Starfield's potentially could be getting a penalty against him here. He went, how, what happened? Because he's just watching the ball coming in, and the boy Campbell being offside. And I says, no, he was pulling by Hanlon's jersey there. He had a hold of him, but he never just let it go. Like, he had a hold of him, and we got a penalty for that out at Paisley the other week. For the same thing with Big O.
What I want them to do, I don't know how they can do it. I think they do it. Is it rugby they do it, or they do it abroad? I think they do tennis and show the ins and outs. No, I don't know how they can show us at the stadium what they're reviewing, because they see the game.
They tell us, but I mean, they tell us what they're checking for.
No, but I mean, the actual footage of what they're checking, because I was like myself. I was sitting behind that. That's my end, and I'm thinking, what she gave that for?
I think they don't do it because it's going to put extra pressure on the referee.
We're all going off or not about what she gave her. We don't know what he's gave. We don't know what he's checking. Even the guys next to me are thinking, what's he checking here? What's all this check going for? And then obviously I came home and I went, right, I can understand why he's gave it, but again, JP, we keep saying we don't want to talk about it, but it's getting highlighted all the time now because it's getting farcical. I don't know if it is full-time referees, which we've spoken about in the past. I think we've done a full podcast on how do we help referees. Obviously, I know we begin with a penalty here, but I'd rather try and get them help to make them better. Is it better grassroots training? Is it trying to get guys who have played the game in? Is it guys?
But we don't talk about them, Ryan, unless it's justified.
Is it guys maybe from abroad to maybe come and help them and show them how to? I don't know what they need to do, but obviously the standard referee's not good enough. Maybe there's not enough referees coming up through grassroots to come in and maybe take their place. I don't know, and maybe some of them are getting fast tracked.
Am I right in hearing that some of your none of your referees were at the World Cup, and none of them recently?
Well, that tells you the standards
have been active in Europe, across the Europa Conference, the Europa League, or the Champions League. Is that right?
I think so. But me and you did say at the start we would set VAR if it was monitored properly, used properly, time wise, etc. It was fine. But seeing what
I think Saturday they were. I don't know if it's just
Saturday.
me personally on Saturday, but I'm pointing that out specifically because I've been big on the time. Saying the time they're taking to get. I don't have a problem with a lot of the decisions. It's the time they're taking to get there. Like the one with James Forrest at Tynecastle. You don't even need VAR to tell you that's a penalty. That's a penalty before a computer was brought in.
Mental.
All day long. So the one with Greg Taylor at Paisley, I've no problems with that at all. He's on here.
I don't think so.
Under this new rule set, I'm all for moving the game forward, and we've got a new modern way of doing things, and fair enough. But you see it in Europe, as soon as somebody's on here, it's a penalty. Doesn't matter where it didn't mean him. I hit off his pal and then flicked off his ear and hit his on. That's a penalty.
But it shouldn't be like that. But it shouldn't be like that.
No, I agree with you, mate. But it is, and that's what we need to deal with. That's what we're dealing with now.
But this is why, like, me and you and Ed at the games, right? A wee handball now. Now, we know it's not a handball, but because of all this happening, we're going, that's a handball, you. And it's not a handball, but because we're getting brainwashed with all these decisions, we think every handball now. When I played football, a handball was if you actually went like with your hand to handball it, and you meant it. See if it just hits half you. Like, see the one at St Mirren with Greg Taylor. I couldn't believe he gave it. I'm thinking, no.
Picture Maradona's goal for Argentina now.
Honestly, Greg Taylor is...
That's getting pulled back. He's not getting it.
Greg Taylor is in a position where he's not moved. The ball's moved direction. He's moved to go at the ball, and it's hit his horn. What can he do about that? And I'm going, oh,
the thing I go with an orange player reaction. And see when the players don't... Like, Greg Taylor knew that. He knew he wasn't getting away with that, mate. And that's how... But again, what annoyed me was the play had went on a minute or two before they stopped the game.
I don't know if any of you know. I don't know if you know. I know you and your stats here, but is there no a time frame where they can't go back and check? I thought it was 45 seconds. That's what I was told.
48 seconds. That's what I thought it was.
Right. Well, the Greg Taylor one was about 2 to 3 minutes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So that's what I was questioning that day because it got moved. It was like it got pulled away back, and the play had went on, and even Ange was standing like, what the hell? But he's kind of started to distance himself from it now because it's kind of like, it's as if don't speak to me about it because I've not really got, like, my opinion's not going to be what you want to hear.
But what you probably agree with me, but I'm just going to go on a mad rant about it. But see the way they're drawing the lines. It's embarrassing. It's like a wee schoolboy's getting a pen. Honestly,
the game at Ford Park at the week. Do you see the lines? The lines were all the way up Mary Hill Road.
It's like wee guys got a pen. It's like wee guys got a pen. It's still with cannon art attack with PVA glue. Honestly, it's so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad. And then the one at the weekend, right? I didn't see the game, right? But I get sent a still shot. I get sent a still shot.
Can you tell what it is yet?
No, it's here. Here's my dad earlier.
Oh, brilliant, man.
You're
getting a free badge with that drawing, mate.
The one
at Fur Park when we played them.
So I've got to say, right,
the guy was standing outside the mega bar. How could he see what it was?
So the camera's there. Jota's away up there, and he's drew a line which still to me looks onside. and they've gave it half right, and then they've gave Sakala, who's in front of the defender, and they've drew the line. It's oh Jesus, man!
And then the one at the weekend there with Sakala. Like I say, the lines went like that, and then it went like that, and then it went like that.
The thing that's annoying me is, but it's getting swept under the carpet. Nobody's talking about it anymore.
Because we're on here talking about it.
I mean, but you're not seeing the media talking about it. You're not seeing anybody else talking about it anymore because it's Monday and the game is done. Rangers won. No, it doesn't fit the narrative. It doesn't fit the agenda. It's not a day by us. I don't care that it's offside because it's Rangers Motherwell. It's cheating Motherwell because I think at the time it was either 3-2 or whatever, and they got the fourth goal or third goal. That could have impacted the game, and I don't care what anybody says it could have. And
it's 2 each, isn't it? So
aye, it's happening to Motherwell, it's happening to St Mirren, it's happening to other, but it's highlighted when it happens to us.
We've been shafted. I don't know about you, lads. I'll come to you with this one in a minute, Ada. I think we've been shafted for it started because you look at decisions at Celtic Park and the penalties that have been given against us. The one with Bernabei against Dundee United. You've got the one with O'Reilly against Ross County. You've got the one with Starfelt there at the weekend. Potentially the one at Ibrox as well. Starfelt actually Sakala stones and Tappy Starfelt's feet. When you break it all down. Surely that's what these guys have got to be looking at, I know. But I'm thinking to myself, why is it taking so long? Is this what it is? Are they looking at it for many angles? Have they got? Are they looking at it for all the different angles and slowing it down and seeing it? I'm going like that. Why is it taking you 2-3 minutes before you come to that decision? I could tell you that was a penalty before. Like, if it was, I could tell you that was a penalty 2.5 minutes ago. It just sped up the whole process without you even. And then the one that really got me was John Beaton. When you lip read him at Ibrox and he says it's not done to me. You're the referee. Who's it done to? So is this what VAR is now? Is this became the referee now? Is this what's refereeing football matches now? Because that's now where it's starting to appear like. I've got another wee, before I bring you in, Ed, I've got another wee comment, quite interesting actually. Elias Mangi says, loving the show from Fiji, lads.
Brilliant, enjoy.
Cheers. Thanks for joining us, mate. We're -9 in Glasgow, mate. I don't know what the weather's like in Fiji right enough, but hope it's decent. But no, Ada, I don't know what your thoughts are there in terms of what we were just talking about there and the VAR, but some of the I just feel that we've been shafted for VAR come in. In so many different ways, and it seems to be more us than what I'm seeing other. Because I've looked out for other teams as well. I'm looking to see what's happening in their games, and my God, man, like some of the decisions against us and our teams just unreal.
A lot of other teams don't get decisions, but we just get so many decisions against us. It's a talking point I can't remember the last time we played a game of football and we were only speaking about VAR after it.
Aberdeen came away was the only game I remember. A VAR wasn't even used the whole game. The game at Petodrome when we came back after the...
I'll tell you, the other games that's been used less is when we played against Dartmoor Banner. I feel as if it... VAR...
In the cup there?
No, just against Rangers.
Final? Oh, right, aye.
Just against Rangers in general, man. I just feel as if it's not used as much. But other than that, every game you're speaking about it, man. There's always something that's went against you. Aye, well, that's the big one that stands out for you.
How many times has he done that this season and on? Some games you're playing with 2 goalies.
3 since then, and he's got away with every one.
Aye, it's like they're playing me a backsy. You know what I mean?
I do think when you look at VAR in other countries and how they implement it and look at us, man, it's as if we went and bought like, the B&M version of something that you can get from Marks and Spencer's.
It's what they call him half wish.
He's got a 5pm.com deal on it, man.
2 for 1.
And it's the whole system in general. We clearly don't have enough cameras to do the job.
Apparently they saved a few bob, and that's how they got to modernise uniforms that they're all wearing now. That's how they saved a few quid on it.
I'm sure that's mad. A lady used to wear just with an SFA badge on it, man.
I don't know if the mics are now connected to the whistle, but it looks a closer, doesn't it? Is it just me?
I think it's just a bit close. I think.
That's why with Don Robertson, he never got the memo that day, so he turned up looking like a guy that just looks for a game of fives down the pitch when somebody's short of bodies.
He's the sort of guy that was doing the floaters when he was in school and didn't get picked, wasn't it?
Aye.
That's what my hand would like if I grew it.
He's the type of guy you wouldn't give some of your juice case he left floaters in it for eating a curly whirly.
I need to get back. No, if a job's done well, I need to go and do it and get back curly whirlies in the bed.
Aye, he's a main event.
Aye.
That £5 was for petrol, no cash for questions.
Brilliant.
And back to that, maybe comment for my good friend Barry Bannon. Finishers on fire again on Saturday. Great show again this evening, boys. Hail, hail.
Cheers,
hail,
boys.
Cheers for joining us, mate.
They were indeed.
Friend that knows Barry, he's been on several times on the podcast, and his team are flying high this season. A good shout of winning that league and getting back into the championship, Brian.
Yep. Brilliant, mate. No, I agree with Baz.
Just for that, mate. That was quite a straight to the point type of answer, mate. It's just a shame you can't do that with every other point we try and make to you. Do you know what I mean?
No, but I do agree with Baza in terms of the finishers. That's a new word we've got for it now.
Finishers, brilliant.
For me, Pasabanovic, lads, I think he's too good to be on the bench. I think he's brilliant. He's an absolute old-school winger. He just likes to take guys on. He gets frustrated when he's not getting the ball. I don't know what you feel on that either. Me and JP have spoken about him quite a lot, but in terms of the guys, again, that is true what Barry says here. The guys come off the bench, it helps you, and other teams in the league don't like it because they were using 5 subs, but it doesn't matter if it's 5 subs or 3 either. We've still got the pick of the guys to bring on the park.
Nah, 100%. I think I said it before. I love Haksabanovic, and I think he would improve as if he was starting all the time. And we don't need a lot of improvement in the league, but coming into Europe we will. But to find that next step of what we're trying to do, I think he's the right guy. But I think I hot on it a week. The amount of times that players just come off the bench and do well for us, it's since I spoke about it last time, it's been in every game since. Haksabanovic the other day. Just the game before, I can't remember who we played before that, but if you tell me, I'll be able to tell you who done it. But it's been every game. I think I threw a stat on WhatsApp at one point and says that how many goal contributions we've had for subs that have come on just for the World Cup, and it's a crazy amount. It's like 21 goal contributions in 18 games or something, just for our substitutes. That's phenomenal. You'll not see that at any other team anywhere in this country and anywhere in probably any other country where the subs come on and make such a good impact. Every sub that comes on that park does well. Even the early sub on Saturday, when we lost to Tati, Turnbull's come on and done brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Aye, you missed Moy, you missed Tati in the middle of the park because that's what we've been used to for the last so many months. But he's come in and he's done a job and he's done amazing. And he could start again in a couple of weeks when we're back in the park and nobody would blink an eye. Our subs is what's won us the league. Because they've got us so many goals this season, it's been unreal. And we've never seen that at any time. No as that as long as I've been watching Celtic, where your subs, every sub you bring on is an impact sub, basically, and they all contribute something.
That's quite a big shout, Ryan, in terms of Davy Turnbull, because I think he's a player that seems to be gone in what we're seeing in social media. I know sometimes either you might not be privy to what's on other sides of social media, etc., mate, but myself and Ryan have came across just the last couple of days from his performance a lot of negativity towards David Turnbull in terms of, just the way he plays. I think sometimes our fans reckon, he likes to go back on himself a lot when the team are trying to build forward, and his first touch is to set himself back away. I think he frustrates a lot of people. But I think overall, Ryan, his overall stats and everything else, mate, I think they kind of speak for themselves, mate, in terms of his actual contribution to the team, mate. We get frustrated because we're 1-0 done, going into half time. As Ada says, we're nearly sub as well, so he's had to come on in the 13th minute to replace Hatate. I didn't particularly think Hatate was magical either before he went off. But when he goes off, you then, and as Ada says as well, you notice that Moy and him aren't there because of that speed of thought and, you know, that kind of eye the needle type passing. Ada, one of the other games you were talking about a second ago, mate, just came to me now, was the St Mirren Cup game where O'Reilly and Hatate both came off the bench. Hatate scored 2 and O'Reilly scored. So they get 3 goals between them. So
I think Hearts was the other one. Come on and done well again.
Yeah, aye. And again, Haksabanovic as well. He came on against Hearts in the midweek game at Celtic Park and scored a specky. He done the exact same at the weekend. He was unlucky not to score against the other mob in the cup final. So, aye, they all make really good impacts, and I suppose that's what's good about having such a big squad and such a, you know, a wee bit of depth in the squad as well in terms of numbers for different positions. But especially with Turnbull, Ryan, I think sometimes a lot of your fans, I think he flatters to deceive a lot of your fans, mate. I think he's slowly, in my opinion, mate, he's becoming another James Forrest, don't you?
I think it's because it's the way we play. I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's a very good player. I rate him highly. The difference, big, you got to remember as well, right? See him, he played in Motherwell. Motherwell won the attack. He was doing the attacking for them. He was scoring the goals, and now other guys are doing that job. And he comes in, I don't know if he's trying too hard to impress, but when he does come in my opinion, I don't think he's done massively wrong. I think it's because the guys are having Moy, Hatate, O'Reilly, and then I'm not saying I'm not saying Turnbull's no any as good as him, but maybe he's maybe not getting the impact as him or whatever it is. I think it's just the way we play. He's in my opinion, he's not doing anything wrong with keeping the ball simple. I don't know if it's because I've stopped playing now, JP, but football is a simple game when you really put your mind to it. See, when you keep the ball simple like Turnbull does, I think because we're fixated now with the manager's trying to do, get the ball forward, But sometimes you can take the ball and just play it simple. But I don't know, I'll put this one to you, JP. The thing that's frying my head right now with this Celtic team, people might say, Ryan, you're maybe full of shite or whatever. But see this dilly-dally with the ball out the wide and the wee dinky crosses. Get the ball whipped in. It's honestly, I'm sitting at games now, I'm thinking, right, Jota done it 3 or 4 times. And I'm like, that
is Glasgow name now, aye. He's been here that long, Jonah.
I'm like, Gonny, get the ball.
Jonah on the wing.
Aye, Jonah
on the wing.
I'm not wanting to swear, right, but Gonny get the ball whipped in the box at pace. It was wet, it was slippy, it was the part was cutting up, but get the ball across here. These wee Kyogo's about 5'4", whatever it is, probably about height of me, probably. I'm quite small, so and you're hitting the ball up to him to head to the ball. What is the point? When Jackie
I don't even think you were that tall, mate, to be honest.
I'm talking a little bit bats for that's another day.
You're actually on a, just for everybody watching us, don't let him kid you, he's actually sitting on a booster seat and you're like, oh.
But see when Jackie Marcus played, they were hitting the ball down the flare, and now Kyogo's playing, they hit the ball up the tap. Aye. Get the ball whipped across, man. Ralston plays, he does my boxing, mate. He doesn't whip the ball in with pace. It's a wee flicky crosses, and Jota is brilliant, but he frustrates me enough. I think he's got all the talent in the world to go. I think he's one of the Celtic players where his ceiling's so high that he can go anywhere he wants. But again, he's doing these wee tricks and just get the ball, get by him, and get it across. Stop trying to go by him 2 or 3 times. It's fancy and it's good when you're 3-4 nothing up. But seeing you're 1-0 down, you're trying to just get the ball in the box. And I see, just fizz it across. And I seen Barry's comment there about.
I'll bring it up in a wee second. I'll just answer your question first. I'm with you, Ryan. I think it's quite frustrating sometimes, especially when you've built that momentum and Ange has managed to, get his message across, and there's 2 and 3 of them there, ready for the ball coming there, and they try that extra pass, and then they try that wee dink, and you're like, that's not there. Jota was doing that in the first half on Saturday, but when he was hitting it, it was going out of the park.
It's so frustrating, man.
But he was trying mental thing. I don't know if you were watching him, Ryan, but he was trying things like trying to hit it from outside his boot and all that. You're like, what are you doing? He knows he's a brilliant player, right? And I get he's trying wee things, but I was like, we're 1-0 done, and you're trying to play the sexy pass or whatever you want to call it. It was frustrating. I know what you're saying, mate, because you're trying to get yourself, not only we're trying to get ourselves back in the game, and we ended up getting in. When was the last time we went in 1-0 done at half time? It's been a long time.
St Mirren, no?
Aye, you're probably right, mate. Aye, the game they beat us. Aye,
Can't remember that. Can't
been a
remember
long time.
game.
No, I can't remember. Can't even remember the last time Celtic never scored in the first half of a game.
Wow.
It's been a long time. But no, that is quite frustrating. But aye, I seen it myself there, Ryan. Barry Bannon's asking us, is it time to give Kobayashi a run instead of Starfelt, lads? Well, I'll have a wee go at answering this one first, Bazza. I really think you can't argue with Big Starfelt's record with Big CCV. I'm really being honest. But the two of them have not lost a game when they've played together in the league. Ever. They've only lost one domestic game playing together, and that was the semi-final last season in the Scottish. And even at that, it was an extra time. So overall, over 90 minutes, they've never lost a game. That's phenomenal. I don't care what league you play in or who you're up against, because like people keep telling you, you can only beat what's put in front of you. Doesn't matter what league you play in. So I'll come at you with that one, Ada. Do you think Starfelt's done enough, or do you think it's time for... I do agree with Baz in terms of, I think you can't just bring a boy for Japan and just leave him on the bench.
No, I agree there.
Make him a finisher every game. So,
but then you can... Starfelt last season made a lot more mistakes than what he's made this season. But the thing is, the mistakes he makes stand out. When you look back at the last couple of games he played before the weekend there, he was brilliant.
Aye.
He's been amazing. So how do you draft him? You can't just draft somebody for one mistake. But Kobayashi, as you say, you're bringing him here for Japan, you need to give the guy game time. But when he's played for us, he's been brilliant. He's been an absolute big unit. There's no part of it wrong at all. I don't think he's going to get the game time this year anyway, but I think he's going to be next year. He'll start coming in and playing a lot more regularly.
Here's a wee, just while you're on your point, Ada, Barry's just added to what he was saying there. He says, I think anyone playing next to CCV strolls it, mate. Just a lot of our goals are potentially Starfelt's fault, the ones we lose, and that's due to probably lapse in concentration. Ryan, your old boy, speaking to him the other day, he seems to think Starfelt's got a mistake in him most games now. Ada, you've just touched on it there last season, but he does do one or two after, and you're right, Ada. You notice it more with him, because I think when you look at CCV, top centre halves don't make mistakes continuously. They'll make the odd one here and there, and then they correct it. Whereas see the mistakes he makes, Ada, you're right, mate. They are noticeable, and they're always like.
You never talk about CCV after a game, and there's a reason for that, because he's not done anything wrong.
Aye.
No, I can get that. Aye, JP. That's what my dad says. He says, Ryan, you can't obviously knock them because you're doing very, very well, but Starfelt's mistakes stand out, and sometimes it's the mistakes in Europe, JP, that I think that might catch him out. That's against your top teams. These top teams,
unfortunately, we never really got a chance to see him in Europe, did we, really? Because he was injured the campaign there. So, in
my opinion, you can't knock Starfelt in terms of the record. The stats will tell you that him and Vickers have been brought. But I do agree with Barry that Carter Vickers, for me, is a lot. For me, he's definitely the best centre-back since Van Dijk. People are saying he's better than Van Dijk was at Celtic, but for me, Van Dijk was unbelievable for Celtic, and that was him just starting out really in his career. But what Vickers has done for us has been brilliant, and I agree with Bazza that if you play next to him, you're not going to better yourself because he's brilliant. In my opinion, he's a top 10 centre-back in the elite in the Premier League. He could play in the top 10 in the border. I'm not saying top 4, but he could definitely get into the bottom half anyway, definitely, in my opinion. He's solid, he's calm and composed, but the two of them, they kind of accommodate each other. If Vickers maybe no track his man, which doesn't always happen. Starfelt's set to cover, Vickers is the same, but I think Kobayashi will be vital next year because I still think it's in our centre back to go with the free rein because I think Welsh's days are numbered maybe in terms of playing at the top level with Celtic. So you need to bring somebody else in. Ideally, I'd love 5 centre backs, but you're never going to get 5 because if 5 guys are going to fight for 2 positions at Celtic, you maybe have 2.
Hey, watch Amida, he's going into all Craig Levine games, man. He's like a 5 at the back.
No.
5 centre backs, strapped with 2 full backs, never.
Aye, and even and the strikers, I'd love 4 strikers. I don't think 3's enough. Especially when you want to go for, like I say, you want to go for trebles, doubles, you want to get into the European football, you're going to be playing maybe twice a week, 3 times a week. So you need, in my opinion, you need 45 defenders, you need 4 strikers. But I do agree with Baz in terms of Kobayashi. I like him. I think he's very comfortable with the ball. And I think Ange likes that, and obviously Ange knows him. So I think Starfelt might have a bit of
Ryan, there's a wee comment for Shelley here, and it's exactly what I mentioned on the group chat and on the phone to you the other day before the game.
I see it, right? I see it.
So I'll put it up now. Even Shelley, cheers for joining us, pal. Starfelt was a liability at times, always pulling jerseys and pushing players in their box. That's a few penalties he's now gave away.
I can get that,
but you've got to look at what she's also alluded to there as well. As Ada says, Carter Vickers doesn't. You don't see him doing it like that. So the ones he's been, I think the only time I ever saw him doing anything daft was when he reacted to the boy Kane. Remember the St Johnstone game at Celtic Park? And he just went off his nut because the boy kicked him. But that's the only time you've ever seen him get a ball away. And the only that one, the wayward pass that's now became a jiff, right? The wayward pass at St Mirren. But that didn't put us in trouble. It didn't do anything daft. It was just a daft pass. I don't know what he was trying to do. But
I do like Starfelt, but I can agree. I'm really thinking about Scotland here.
I seem to have just creeped in there the last wee while with Starfelt as well now, doesn't it?
But this is, see, like I just think some of your fan base are fickle. One guy has one bad performance, and that's him the worst now. Abada's had maybe 2 or 3 games where he's been his best, but this is what I'm trying to say to some fans as well. I say to some guys at the games, see if you're only getting 10, 15 minutes here and there, it's impossible for you to then be at your best because you're not going to run a games, you're not getting momentum. This is why Hatzke for me will get frustrated because he's only getting 10, 15 minutes, but is he getting told behind the scenes, listen, you'll get game time now, be bits and bobs to the end of the season, but next year you'll play a massive part. So as Anne's telling these guys stuff that we don't know, because we know privy to all that information, we only know what's on the park. If I was only getting 10, 15 minutes every week, I'd be frustrated. I know Anne says they're all happy, and if you're disappointed getting dropped, it shouldn't be your mentality, but it's natural to be your mentality if you're not playing, or how am I not playing today? I should be playing. If you're not want to play, if you're not disappointed at not being selected, then in my opinion, you shouldn't be at a club at Celtic or even Rangers at that point. You shouldn't be at a top club if you're not pissed off about being on the bench. It's a European side I'm worried about with Starfelt because these bigger teams will punish you. Starfelt, Vickers was superb. Jens was okay as well. And now look at him now, he's maybe getting a Germany call up, so maybe he's came at a bad time in a family situation. Maybe he's got a daughter that's health and they've had to go. But it's a European side I want us to be better, JP, because I know we've done well last year in terms of performance wise, but we finished bottom. We didn't do well points wise. So if you look at it that way, we weren't very good. We can all say we done well against Madrid and we took them to this and we went toe to toe, we done well. But we still conceded a lot of goals and we didn't score a lot of goals. And if you can see goals, I know if this is pure Michael Owen shit, but if you can see goals, you're never going to, if you can see 2 and 3, 4 a game in Europe, no matter if you're scoring 2 or 3, you're never going to win football games because you need to keep that shot at the back. And the fact we didn't score any, this is where I think next year, I think I totally agree with Baz in terms of the European side. I'm big on the European side that I want us to be better in Europe. I think we've got the capabilities to be better in Europe, but I don't know if you agree with this, Ada, but it just seems it doesn't matter who's in charge. If it's O'Neill, Stratton, Lennon, Rodgers, and now Ange, etc., Mowbray, every time we go to Europe, we just make silly, stupid mistakes. But
It's the same ones all the time.
But other teams don't do it. Other teams don't do it in Europe, like your Club Barugis, we're not a big team, and they don't do it. But
Ryan,
why do we do it?
Because there's so, seen in terms of the Champions League, Ryan, sorry that I cut in, but obviously I've just want to put this before I bring you back in. See, in terms of the Champions League, Ryan, we're not in it consecutively, mate. Club Brugge are in the Champions League every year.
But making simple mistakes isn't due to that, but simple mistakes.
But it is when you play, you're naive when you get into, see if you've not played, Matt O'Reilly was playing against teams and...
I get that, but I mean...
He's then gone for that, you're then
mistakes,
playing against Real Madrid.
Oh, I can get that, but it's a wee simple things.
Starfield played with Ruben Kazan, Ryan. He's never played in the Champions League before, and obviously he didn't get that opportunity. He only played in the Bernabeu.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're making daft errors, mate, it's...
But this is what me and you keep saying. Top players don't make their mistakes.
No, they
don't.
So what we're saying then? So we think these guys are good players, but when we get to that level, they're no top players.
Well, no, they're not.
Yeah,
they're not.
The thing is, really good players, until they improve.
The thing I
think Johnson will help us defensively in Europe. I think he'll help us.
The thing that made me realise in terms of European football that we're still miles away was when we were with Rodgers and Scott Brown was at his probably one of his peak levels, and I thought Scott Brown and McGregor were brilliant, especially that season when we went invincible and stuff. They were brilliant, and then I seen them play against Rabiot and Verratti, and I just went, Scott Brown's average compared to these guys. It's a total different. It's night and day, and this is where
see when you're not competing at that level every year, Ryan, and you're having a 5-year sabbatical, mate. That's not helping you either. That's never going to help you. So see, like say that you win the league, you can straight back in next season. That'll be 2 years in a row, boys have been together at that level, right?
Experience, so we can win it.
Well, that's it, Ada. So they know now, they'll have that experience earlier this season. They'll know now. They will know now what's demanded of them. They'll know now what's going to be asked of them. They'll already have it in their heads what level they're going to need to play at game by game. Because see, I've said it before, lads. See in the Champions League, Celtic are going to have to play at their pomp, especially now while we're building this team, right, under Ange. We're going to have to play at our pomp the 6 games. To win me any shout or getting any sort of result. Now your fans could, comment in and say whatever they want. That's the be all and end all. I'm just trying to make them believe that they can play at that level. And their performance levels this season showed me that they can compete at that level. You've got to look at the chances they created. No taking the chances is due to
it's criminal, man.
And maybe lack of confidence in certain moments with the individual. But I know it's criminal, Ryan. But again, it comes down to experience, mate. Because maybe in the Champions League, mate, they need to hit the ball that wee bit harder, that wee bit faster. It might just be the wee daft tweaks that we're not thinking. They get away with doing it. They can get away with playing it lazy in Scotland. But in there, you've got to be sharp, bang, boom. One wee mistake, mate, and you're punished. Doesn't matter if you're playing Club Brugge, Napoli, Real Madrid, or Bate Borisov. These teams are at it, mate, and they're ready to go when it comes to these matches. And I know under Anil we use Partkeed as a fortress. He turned us into he done this, he done that. Under Anil, mate, we were getting beat. We were getting beat off. We were 15 minutes into the game. We were 2 and 3-0 down in certain games. We went away to Shakhtar, and Shakhtar scored the first. I think they took centre and went out apart and scored. So we were still getting beat with these teams, and we thought then these guys were superstars. Guys like Sutton, Larson, John Hartson, Alan Thompson, Didier Agat. Paul Lambert, who'd won the Champions League with Dortmund. But it's about game management as well, Ryan. It's not just surely down to your player ability and everything else. It's down to game management and how you manage certain aspects of the game. And in my opinion, mate, having a 5-year sabbatical away, Aider, I'll bring you in on this a second. Having a 5-year sabbatical away for the tournament isn't going to do you any good, mate, when you're trying to build momentum on it.
No, it's obviously you've got to been it more times. You're more experienced in it, and you can gel. But the thing, for me, I do agree that the more you're in it, that you're up to speed with it. But it's a wee simple.
Club Bridge have built that, Ryan, the last 10 years.
The thing for me, that it's like, I don't care if you're playing junior football, you're playing Champions League. See when guys can't pass the ball 5 yards and they're kicking the ball at the park. For me, that's criminal at that level. I don't care what anybody says. It's criminal.
No,
see, even my Ada, right? I think he's very good in terms of what he does. But see against Rangers, he's kicking the ball at the park, and I'm thinking you can't do that at this level. I know he's very good at going forward and pressing, and he scored some good goals. But you can't keep doing that because the fans are going to pick. Listen, what you doing? Like, if that's going to Europe, you're going to get embarrassed. That's it looks. In my opinion, it's just on the screen. I'm just talking about by looking at on the park. Oh, he's run the ball again. He's gave the ball away again. It's going to end. The fans are going to end up getting on people's back when they get. But this is, I do agree with JP. The more you play in it, the more you're used to it, and the more you get into playing in these games. But it's don't you feel either? But it's a simple wee things like that. If it's a Champions League or if it's playing Davo or DFS or whatever it is, it's that's what I can't go at that level when they guys are doing that every day and they're getting paid that amount of money every day and they're doing it every day. It's all right with me. I'm playing amateur. I'm amateur for a reason. That's why I'm doing the mistakes. But when you're at that level and you're doing that, I think you get punished, especially at that level when you do in your league.
Aye, I agree. It's the mistakes we make are the basics. It's always daft wee slips, no chasing back, players stopping in the halfway line, no doing their bit, as you say, running the ball out. It's running the ball out the way Maeda does it, game after game. It's the worst way in the world to give away possession. You're giving away possession, you're giving the team time to reshape and come at you again. It's the absolute worst way in the world to lose possession. And he does it every game. Is it always his fault? No. Sometimes the pass is too heavy and whatever. Maybe people are misjudging his pace. But that's something that needs to be worked on. As you say, you go into Europe, you'll get punished for that. You always will. Celtic seem to have this, and you kind of touched on it. In the SPL, in the Premiership, you can have a bad 30 minutes. You can have a bad 45 minutes and still win a game. You have a bad 15 minutes in Europe, and it's buggered. You the 2-3 goals down in Europe against the best sides in 15 minutes. You need to be at the absolute top every time of your game. And if you need to suffer for the next 2 days to recover after playing, then suffer and give your absolute all. Be your best every minute of that game. And if you can't be, then get somebody in who can be that bit better. Because Europe is where you're going to be judged. When you're Celtic, you're not going to be judged on winning the league. We should be doing that. We should be doing that every year anyway. We're going to be judged on how we do in Europe, and if you're judged on how we've done in Europe, whether it's the Champions League, Europa League, Conference, in the past few years, then we're not that great. Players, as you say, the players might be absolute stars to us, but when they go out there and they play in Europe, stupid mistakes just drive you mental, man. And very rarely do we lose a goal and go, nothing we could have done about that. I was just a brilliant bit of football. Always doing to something happening. Either in the middle of the park, players not coming back, or lapse in defensive concentration, just stupid giving the ball away when you shouldn't be giving the ball away. It's not as if it's a one-half or a one-game half. It's every game. It's daft mistakes. You have an absolutely brilliant 45 minutes against Real. And in all the other games, we played a brilliant first half, and then the second half, we just won the at it, and it cost us points. If we can't improve on that next season, then there's clearly something wrong somewhere. You say we're going into these games next year with that bit of experience, so there's no excuses. no excuses other than new players coming in. We need to be good for 90 minutes or 85. Have a 5 minute spell where you take a breather and let them teams come at you. Then get right back into it. There's absolutely no reason we shouldn't be able to do it. They're professional athletes who train every day. They're no different than anybody who trains every day for any sport. You're a professional athlete. You should be able to be at your best for the full 90 minutes of the sport that you're a professional at. And if you can't be, don't play the game. That's how I see it.
Oh, I totally agree. There's a couple of wee comments just come in as we were chatting about this here. Antonius Ferris has commented, the way we play, we're always going to concede goals in Europe. Ange knows that that the left and right fullbacks in particular are going to get exposed in one-on-one situations where other tactics look to prevent this. And then obviously Francis has commented as well, and he said the problem is we don't have to defend in the SPFL for any length of time in games. The more our defenders play against a higher level of team, the more we're going to learn. That's human nature, Francis, as well. I definitely. But like I say, having a 5-year sabbatical for the tournament isn't going to help you either, because then you're coming in again and you're raw and you're not there. And I think that a team like Celtic should always win it. In my opinion, we should win the Champions League every year.
Yep.
Every season. Now, whether that be we get to the group stages and get our arses felt and then we get knocked back out again, or we're there and we're able to compete. Because as Ada says, Ryan, that's where we're going to be judged. Ange's all right winning trophies and winning medals and doing all right here, but you can tell he wants that other wee notch on his bedpost, mate, in terms of making Celtic a team in Europe. So
I can agree
that's
with
where
the
he wants
comment.
us to judge.
I can
Because
agree
I'm not
with
being funny, mate. I'm not being rotten, and I don't want to be disrespectful. Maybe I'm going to be disrespectful with this comment, but if that mob across the water can get to a European final, then we're a better team than them.
This is what frustrates me as well, right? People, because
it's still got the nucleus of that team, barring 2 players.
But apparently we've no face to the Rangers yet.
No, I know. I seen their El Capitano's comment today.
See, in my opinion, right? Like, I totally get the way we want to play. We're going to see goals, but teams like Man City and all that all play the way we want to play and don't see goals. So why do we do it? I know we've not got the players that maybe they've got, but why? See, like you're saying, Rangers, right? They didn't play good football and they go to that final. They just defend. Why can we not do it for 90 minutes? Why can we not just defend? But I know we've not got the players to do it, right? But see, when you go to these games, you need to tweak your tactics to do it. And you can't just go gung ho. Like, see, against Real Madrid, right? We're nothing each way, like half an hour to go, right, before they scored. Joe Hart's wanting to get the ball to go and play. Take the draw. They're nothing each against Real Madrid. I know that's not these players' nature. It's you go and win a game of football, but you don't need to get the ball and play it all the time. You can waste 5 seconds, 10 seconds. The referee's going to pull you back for time wasting. You need to just sometimes use your. He's 36. Use your noggin. Experience. Take the ball, play it out wide, and then play it back. You don't need to play it gung ho and just get the ball right to Modric or Tony Kroos in the middle of the park to then go on an attack. I think that's what we something to get around JP as well. I think because this team is so about going and winning and going forward and getting it wide and going. I think sometimes we do, like he does say, we forget the basics. You can keep the ball simple and just play possession, especially I think for me, JP, in Europe, sometimes you just need to keep the ball, keep it simple. But I think because the way we want to play, we are just going to go forward. But
I just think next time, next season,
I'm experienced.
We'll see a different Celtic team in terms of you're going to have a fully fit Aaron Moy, right? And Patrick's made a comment about that there as well, and that's what I was thinking. We'll have a fully fit Aaron Moy in the Champions League, and he will certainly make a difference in there with just his game experience alone at a high level, because he performed at a very, very high level at the World Cup against quality players in that France team. I think just stay wee kind of tweaks, Ada, in terms of your defence, because Alistair Johnson wasn't part of our defence there in the Champions League either. He's made us better defensively. So we're getting a lot of joy because of him as well. He's robust in terms of the way he defends. I've put my neck on the line on here already. I think he's going to be the best right back we had since Danny McGrain. I really do. I think over time, that is a big shout, but I think over time he's going to grow to be that type of player if we can keep him long
I
enough.
just feel that's disrespectful to Paul Telford, but however.
Do you know? Here's a wee true story about Paul Telford. Do you know Paul Telford didn't watch football while he wasn't playing? Didn't watch football.
Doesn't like watch doesn't like football.
No, he didn't like football. Yep. Yeah, he didn't watch football, right? But if he wasn't playing,
I think I was the same as who was him that played with Spurs? Oh, was it Asua Cottle? Was it him? I think he says I hate football, but it's my job. He went,
was it no Danny Rose?
I don't know if it was that. No, was it Danny Rose? It was either him or Asua Cottle was one of them, and he says I don't watch football, I don't like it, but I get paid today and I'm good at it.
Francis is just commenting saying Danny was his hero. He could play both sides. I actually think Francis, we've not seen it yet, but I think Alistair would be quite comfortable playing both sides as well. I just think there's something about him. I might be shouting it too early. I hope I'm not. I hope in a couple of months' time or a year or two's time he's going right, JP. I see what you mean. But I really do. I know it might be a big shout, but I can just see it in him early doors that I think he's certainly going to be. He's going to give us more in terms of defensively, and his game going forward will improve as well, if that makes sense. I think he's brilliant in possession for us as well. I think he's very hard. He doesn't very he doesn't get the ball away too easily as well. It takes a lot for him to be dispossessed with the ball. Again, Ryan, he's one of the ones with his back to goal. He doesn't get flustered. He doesn't seem to get ruffled when he's getting shut down, etc. He just plays a nice, simple putt. He always finds a man as well. So I might be shouting it too early, but I just think, for what I've seen him so far, I just think he's an absolute belter. And what a bit of recruitment that's been for Ange as well to go and suss that before even JJ had left the building. But just obviously, gabbing away and the time's going on. Obviously, just before we go, I've got a wee clip with Kenny Dalglish talking about our manager. And he was asked either the day of Ange potentially leaving Celtic to move south for the border. And this is what King Kenny had to say about that.
And if he is going to be asked, and if they didn't ask, they'd be even stupid not to ask him. But somebody said it's manners to wait until you're asked. But even if he was asked, I don't know if he'd go. You try to say that Celtic's not as big an adventure as what some of the clubs that were allegedly interested in him. Why would he go down to the Premier League and get relegated? Or the team's threatened with relegation? He'd rather be at Celtic looking to win trophies. But it's just a byline that always comes up. When you're doing well, there's always somebody else interested. And so they should be.
I think that was quite interesting for Kenny, Sir Kenny, should I say. Obviously, I really do think that was quite interesting for, the comments in terms of Ange being asked about the teams it's been linked to, because any of the teams that he's been linked to so far for media, and I think there's quite a few now, Ryan, because he was linked to nearly every job there once. It was 1 or 2 a month, wasn't it? There for the last couple of months. So, but the teams he has been linked to, either none of them, in my opinion, mate, are big on Celtic.
Relegation fodder, a lot of them.
And he is right, mate. He says, mate, in terms of why would they go, and why would they want to go down to take a Leeds team that was heading down the way, or take a Brighton team that's never going to win a trophy. Never going to probably get out of there unless for something happens to that Premier League and they do a Leicester and they ended up winning that league for some reason. And I can't say never, because nobody would ever have saw Leicester winning that league. So that just shows you how mental the game can be at times. But these kind of moments are far and few between in the game, and we all know that. So again, Ryan, I don't think his comments are bad or anything there. I think he's spot on in terms of his assessment, because I feel the exact same. Ange probably could be here the next 3-4 years and nobody would bat an eyelid apart for this media, because this media they don't want him here. They want him away. This was a media that actually, predicted that he was to be sacked by Christmas. 2 Christmases ago. So
you look at him, every team he's managed has been a team that's capable of winning trophies. I don't think he's ever going to try and veer away from that. Ever. Like, in his lead up to coming to Celtic, the teams he managed in Australia, both teams capable of winning trophies.
Yep.
Same in Japan, and he's managed to do it at every club he's been at. He's been on to win the trophies, and he'll do it at Celtic, and you'll not get a better chance of winning trophies anywhere else than you will at Celtic Park. And he's getting paid well. He likes the place. He likes the club. When you look at it like that, he's no reason to ever leave.
Yep.
But eventually, well, we all know that. But there's no reason to ever go, and I don't think he'll go anytime soon. I don't think any relegation fodder or even any bottom 10 in the Premier League club will entice him away. But he'll constantly be the favourite for the jobs. He'll constantly be asked if he wants the job. He'll constantly be touted by the media. That's never going to go away. And as Kenny Dalglish touched on, that's the way it should be, because then you know he's doing well. If he was doing bad, we would never hear about it. So you take it as a compliment to us, and then you just try and go on with it, the same as basically Ange does. He just takes it, brushes it off, gets back to managing Celtic like he should.
Another one that's really getting me, Ryan, is it's making me confident of keeping him longer as well, is he's still adding to this backroom team.
Mm-hmm.
So he's brought in another scout that him and Matt Lowell know really well, and he's brought all the Japan boys as well, and they all trust him, and they've all, some of them even played under him, like Awata and Maeda, and Kyogo knew about him. Hatati knew about him. Kobayashi played against his teams. And as Eda says there, he's done well with just about every team. He actually done the unthinkable, and he won the Asia Cup with Australia as well.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a god there. You know what I mean? So I don't understand how the only people who've got to fear about him is the rest of the league and the media. Francis has just put a wee comment on, it's quite interesting. And he says, total media fear of us starting another march of how many titles in a row? And it's night and day, Francis, what you're saying. We are miles ahead of this league. And another season in the Champions League, Ryan, with more finances and top of that. I know obviously we're going on a wee bit here, but I'll let you finish off with us and then we'll finish up. But
sorry, mate.
Another season into the Champions League with more finances above that. And you've got wee Hasbulla moaning about budgets and this and that, and for the cup game there, he wasn't even using his VAR because it was going to cost him money, and you've got other teams doing this and other teams doing that.
Cheers, Baz.
I totally agree with you, Baz. Barry Bannon says Ange be here for longer than the clock has been in Ryan's wall.
That's going to be a running joke. No OnlyFans, my coat's getting it now, man. Baz, it's a fashion concept now, man. It's a fashion sense.
Baz, it's not before time, mate.
Time flies and having fun, doesn't it?
Aye, time flies when you're throwing that cloak out in the bin. So it does.
I get the bins out, aye. The only listen, we all know what's happening. The media want them out here because Celtic have had one season where they've not been successful. I put it on Twitter the other day and I got a lot of abuse on it. That doesn't bother me. Celtic have been back onto the cream of the crop. Celtic are back winning trophies after one season, and they can't stand it. The media are saying everything they can to get them out. They tried everything to take Jack and Marcus out.
I mean, I disagree with that wee bit. You're saying they're back winning trophies.
Out of one season, but then we're back on the mantle, winning trophies again, and they can't stand it. We're borderline, maybe pushing for a treble. And if that happens, it'll be a meltdown city. It'll be, the media will be, but next year, don't worry, next year they'll tip Rangers to win again, they'll tip Aberdeen to finish second, Ange will wait Christmas, and people might go on Twitter, you need to stop maybe clicking on all this right now because I'm putting out the bullshit. I'm sick of it. It's so frustrating when we're all football fans. See if you can't see the facts which in front of you. Don't support football. Don't go and watch it because you've not got a clue. The facts are Celtic are 9 points clear. Ange is brilliant. Like Ada says, if you're not getting looked at for clubs, then clubs are doing their job then. Their CEOs, etc., are not doing their job properly because you should be looking at Ange. Because in my opinion, Ange could easily go into England and manage at top 4 clubs.
Well, if Graham Potter can get a Chelsea job, Ange could replace Big Klopp at
100%.
any day of the week.
The media don't like Celtic being successful, and it's the older I'm getting, JP, the more I'm going to say I'm getting wiser, but the more I'm getting older, I'm realising a lot more in terms of Scottish football, and it's blatant as day to me. They don't like Celtic. It's blatant. People can say it's just you're batting up, you're whatever. They can say what they want. It's the truth, and we all know it's people don't like us speaking the truth, so that's the truth. They don't like it when we talk the truth. The media will try everything, like media done. Rescue Celtic. Ashley Barnett scored with 3-1. It's things like that, and it's maybe it's clickbait and it gets guys like me on my high horse to moan them, but I love moaning them. It makes my Monday morning when I see the press. Right, it's an RB tweet to put up. I love it. So, but in terms of media, JP, I totally agree with you and Ed were saying. If they don't look at Ange, then they're doing the wrong. The manager doing the wrong for clubs, but the media don't want us to be successful, mate. That is a reason they can.
The thing is, Ryan, this isn't anything new. My dad's been telling me this for the lines. The media just don't like us, mate. They don't. For way back then, I've never liked.
But I'm not saying anything else. I want to go in my cup of tea and that, and also let you go on off.
Obviously, I'm just saying that this isn't something new that we're seeing. You know, this isn't anything new. But Ada, I'll put it last week. Obviously, moving forward, mate. Just to summarise, mate. Obviously we're in the internationals, so I don't know if you bother too much with international football. I'm also a big Scotland fan, so I'll be tuning into Scotland.
I keep thinking about my fucking
I don't really bother with international football, if I'm honest, man. I'd be lying if I said I did, man. It bores me. I don't know why. I just don't need to watch it or nothing. If I'm honest, I'll quite happily watch the Liverpool Celtic Legends game on repeat than watching an international game.
That's in Saturday as well, isn't it?
Man, just watch that back to back for the rest of the day, man, than watching it. Just isn't interesting, man. I don't know why. I've got to say never, but I used to be in it when I was about 16, 17. I used to go with my pals, because all my pals were all Rangers fans, so it was only kind of games we could go to together. But other than that, once
it was the only time you all agreed.
Basically. Even then, we didn't agree. So, but a bit closer to agreed. So that was the only time I was really into international football. And I think they were only into it because Walter Smith was the manager. So.
No, I'm the same, but I'm a big Scotland fan. I always have been. I try and watch them when they're playing, and I'll tune into the 2 games we've got, Cyprus and Spain. So. That'll be good. But no, guys, cheers for taking your time, mate. And everybody else that's tuned in, mate, tonight. Much appreciated. I know, obviously, we've kept you long tonight. It's been a bit long-winded tonight, but that's what happens when you've got Andy Gray sitting on the panel this week. You're sitting here having a chat. So, talking about cloaks. Mind you, should remember when that big con touches you on, that doesn't make sense. Playtime, you behave yourself. So. But everybody else, thank you very much for tuning in. Anybody that's new to the page, please hit the like and subscribe button, the wee bell and the subscribe button. It just gives you an opportunity to be notified when we go live. And it's totally free to do it as well. It doesn't charge you any money. If you've not got a Google account, it might prompt you to make one up. All you do is put in your email address and a wee password that you remember how to do it. The page is on all social media platforms, guys, as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. So you can get us on any one of those platforms. I'll stick myself and Ryan's Twitter handle up if anybody fancies a wee chat. If you're feeling maybe having a bad day or you're having a downer or whatever, you can contact us on there. We're always free to have a chat with you. Anything for the page, guys, there's a wee section on our YouTube channel. It's called Community. So you just have a look in there. There's regular updates about what's happening with the channel moving forward. We will have some guest episodes coming up soon as well. Obviously, just be be mindful to look in there, and you'll find out what's going to be happening. Again, obviously across social media as well, and the TikTok. We done a wee TikTok live last night. It went okay for the first one, so we weren't on too long. But we did have a couple of wee mental comments towards the end last night's. But that's something we're maybe going to look to do in the future as well, because we found that it got a wee bit of traction for the channel as well. So we'll maybe look at dabbling in that as well. Hopefully we can get Ryan a new cloak for his Easter. You're not getting an egg. You're not getting an egg this year, mate.
By the way, see Wednesday, I'm doing it on my room or something, man. This is terrible.
But lads, it's been a pleasure again. Thanks very much for taking the time.
Hail,
A
hail.
massive hail, hail.
Cheers, lads. Hail, hail. Bye bye.
That's who we are. The best on the planet. Unbelievable.
I love that. It's what I love.
First of all, before we go on tomorrow, we'll just want to say about Greg Taylor, mate. That's why the boys call him Oxo, because he's absolutely different gravy.